This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not medical advice. Please consult a qualified healthcare professional before making any health or lifestyle changes.
Welcome to Conversations That Heal. If your doctor says you're fine, but your body says otherwise, you're maybe gaining weight that doesn't make any sense, aches and pains that seem to be for no reason, maybe you're waking up at 2:30 a.m. and your brain just won't stop, you're struggling to push through those tasks that you used to handle without even thinking about it. Well, you are in the right place. Every episode, we explore different perspectives or practices to help your body improve naturally. So take what works for you and leave what doesn't. Before we get into today's conversation, click the link in the description and download my free resource, 4 Steps to Finally Feel Like Yourself Again. All right, so let's get into it. Welcome to Conversations That Heal. I'm Tracy Mail, a health empowerment coach, and with me tonight is a special guest, Liz Taylor. Liz is a financial alignment coach, and while you might wonder, what does that have to do with health and healing? I'm sure we can all attest to the stress that finances can cause. So, without further ado, Liz, let's start with you telling us more about who you are, what you do, how you got into this, and we'll take it from there.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Thank you for having me. Yes, so financial alignment, what that means is aligning our mindset and our thinking habits with our finances and the practical aspects of finances. What I have found is oftentimes we have a money story that developed, in childhood. And our parents, always did the best that they could, but there were messages that got conveyed. And depending on the lifestyle that we grew up in, those messages definitely kind of construct this story about money. So my generation, I don't know if you can relate to this, but one of the things that I heard all the time, and as silly as it is money doesn't grow on trees.
Grow on trees.
Yeah, and I remember being a young kid, and ATMs were kind of a new-ish thing at the time, I think. And I remember my parents would go up to the ATM, and I was like, "No, it doesn't grow on trees, but it comes out of that building. It comes out of the wall."
That's right.
But yeah, so even those like silly little sayings that we have, our parents had, they can start to write the story that makes us have interesting thoughts and self-talk about money. And then with money, the other thing that I find is so interesting is we are so emotionally connected to money. I mean, it makes sense because obviously it's currency, right? It's how we get the things that we want. But I mean, if we can really just step back and see it as a tool and not let it have so much emotional tie over our lives, it can just be a much healthier place to be. And then, and then of course, tied into that is actually making smart decisions with our money.
Absolutely.
And I teach a high school personal finance class, and what I tell the students all the time is, there are people making a lot of money to convince you to spend money on their thing. And so we just have to be super aware of that. I mean, it's great. Like I'm all for businesses. I'm all for marketing. I'm all for all those things. But again, just as a personal consumer, being aware of, these people dive into the psychology behind it all and know how to say the right thing to make us want to buy their thing. I mean, that's what they're supposed to do, right?
That's marketing, yeah. Right.
So yeah. So it's a fun place to be. I mean, obviously it can be super life-changing. My typical clients make good money, but don't always have anything to show for it at the end of the month, and so helping them with that. And then alongside of that, I have kind of a ministry as well, working with women who are recently divorced, who haven't had to manage money, maybe stayed home with the kids, and then all of a sudden they've got to navigate all of these things. I've got to get a job. I haven't worked in 10 years, and I've never really managed all this. My husband managed it. And so, I say a ministry because oftentimes they're in a position where they, can't afford me, and that's okay, and so
Right, right.
my goal is to have a couple of clients that fit that
Nice.
category as well as paid clients. So,
Nice.
yeah,
Uh,
it's a good place to be.
yeah, oh, absolutely. I can just imagine how scary that would be, right? To not, because I take
Right.
care of all of that stuff, but I always think if, again, the other side of the things, if something happened to me, I know my husband would not, he wouldn't have a clue, right? And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it's a horrible spot to be in. So yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can understand that. Um, what about how do you feel like if people always say money is energy? Do you work with that
Mm.
kind of thing where you put out not just positive thoughts, but what you put out again, those stories we told ourselves, the things we grew up with. Do you help people change those stories to kind of help finances flow a little nicer?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. The, they it's very easy to have a scarcity mindset when it comes to money because again there's an endless amount of things to buy, places to go, things to see, all the
Yeah.
things. And so we can kind of develop that scarcity mindset. There's never enough. But again, it's so interesting because um the number doesn't matter, and so
No.
one of the exercises that I do is ask clients, what is your enough? And really think about that, like, if you had that number in the bank, would you feel comfortable? And then, start asking a lot of
Mm.
why behind that. And then the next piece of the exercise that's super interesting is, okay, if you had that amount tomorrow, would that number change? And so really kind of diving into, first of all, have you even thought about that number? Second of all, if you
Mm.
have, what tends to happen over time is it changes, and there's, you never reach it, other
Right.
areas of life, there's a finish line. We know when we've crossed that finish line,
Right.
and a
Right.
lot of times with money that finish line keeps,
Grow.
changing and
Yeah.
changing.
Yeah.
And so again, just awareness around that.
Hmm.
So and as well as celebrating those small wins. It's like you get a promotion, maybe celebrate it for a second, but then that becomes the new baseline versus,
Exactly.
you know
Yeah.
what, like, this is good. And
Yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah.
so really celebrating the accomplishments, and of course preparing emergency funds and all the things
Right.
for
Right.
the bumps in the road. So yeah.
Okay. Do you help people figure out like, you know, you say, when I have, then I'll be. When I have,
Hmm.
then I'll this.
Hmm.
You know, they always say money doesn't buy happiness. So you gotta, be happy in yourself. Get,
Hmm.
do you help people kind of find that and to really find their true, what do you really need to be happy and have enough?
Yeah. Definitely. So I'm actually certified in an assessment tool called the Habit Finder. You've done the assessment,
Yes, I have. Mm.
and it's an assessment around thinking habits. And one of the big thinking habits is around self worth, and whether it's money, whether it's a number that's in the bank or a number that you make, or achievements, or awards. It is so common to tie self worth to
Yeah,
that thing,
yeah,
whether
absolutely.
it's money or achievements or whatever.
Mm.
And so yes, that is a big part of the work that I do, is helping people recognize um, their self-worth, just because we were created by God, I believe, and
Oh,
that
absolutely. Yeah.
we're created in his image, and
Mhm.
therefore we're already so valuable. And
Yes.
and then to your point, I mean, we hear the stories all the time, the people who make crazy money in Hollywood or sports teams or whatever, and they're so unhappy. It just doesn't
Yes.
it doesn't satisfy. um
Mhm.
and so I actually have a client, and her they lived in a small town, rural South Georgia, and when her husband really wasn't making that much money. They were just kind of living life.
Mm,
And she said
yeah.
that was honestly the happiest time in my life. She said when
Wow.
started making more money and getting promoted, and she was a business owner, started doing well in her business, she's like, from the outside, we were successful. But she said,
Right.
truly, the happiest time in my life was when we really didn't have much at all. And
No.
that's not a uncommon story,
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
the other piece that I think is really critical is your mindset around generosity. Anytime we can outwardly focus, whether it's with our money or our thoughts or our time, we're gonna be happier, And
Absolutely.
again, the research is so crazy because you would think, well, the more I make, the more I'll give. I'm gonna have more margin, the more I'll
Right.
give.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Like all the numbers show it's the exact opposite. And so again, it's such an interesting
Yeah.
place to
I
be.
I find that so interesting too. I heard that a while back, and it's
Hmm.
if you have nothing, or like most people were live paycheck to paycheck, you're
Hmm.
just trying to get through. If you give when you're in that
Hmm.
situation, you will
Hmm.
give when you make more, right? If
Hmm.
you don't give there because that's scarce, you're never going to give
Yeah.
more,
Yeah.
right? That's
Yeah.
and that's so I always do. If I go to the grocery store and they have the bag of I'll always buy that bag to put in the food bank or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't do much, but I try to do whatever I can,
Yeah,
right, to
absolutely.
help. So,
Absolutely. And
yeah.
again, it's the heart behind it.
Yeah.
It's not the amount, it's not
No.
any of that. It's the heart
Yeah.
behind it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
um and yeah, I mean, I, I can't think of any example where somebody gave and then regret it. I mean,
Felt bad.
maybe,
Yeah, right.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
There's
there's some
nothing
outliers, but not
exactly.
typically.
Yeah. It's not a normal thinking, right? Yeah. Give whether it's financial or even just holding a door for somebody. Like it just make
Exactly.
they smiled. It's like, oh, and it makes you feel good, right? So just
Yeah,
being a
absolutely.
good person all around, right? So nice.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me more, like what's maybe one question that you would get
Mhm.
from somebody that yeah, what's your most common question? Let's go there.
Yeah, I mean, typically when people think of hiring me, they're kind of in a desperate situation. So, the first question is going to be, how do I get out of debt, or how do I, have more margin, those kind of
Right,
things.
right.
And so I certainly, like I said, can dive into that, look at the budget. There's usually some red flags that are kind
Of course,
of,
yeah.
flashing.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but I believe that if we don't dig into the mindset behind it, you're just going to kind of end back in the same place.
Yeah.
And so I try to ask other questions around that, is kind of like, okay, well, first of all, let's be aware of what got you here,
Right.
and and then, I mean, it does take some tenacity, I guess is a good
Oh,
word, to do all of that, because you're going against the grain, you're going against
yeah.
society. You're
That's
gonna have to say no to some things, to if you really, really want to get yourself in a better place.
yeah.
And so also kind of diving into, are you really ready? Are you really ready for this change?
Right.
Are you at that place where you'll do anything,
Yes.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
fix the issue. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's kind of
Okay. Good, good,
the
good. And that
that
I think is
idea.
what you said there was so it doesn't matter if it's financial,
Mhm.
getting your health. If you're not ready to make the changes you need to make, I can't tell you how
Yeah.
many people I talk to that, you know, I'm feeling this, I'm suffering here, but oh no, I'm not changing what I'm eating. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna do like
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
right?
It's
So
like
they're
there's
just not ready
there's
yet,
only
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you can't force it. When I know with myself, when I hit that point, like I don't give two hoots.
Mhm.
I'm making a change now because I can't
Right.
carry on. Then you
Mhm.
do what you need to do. So same with finances, right? You stop
Mhm.
eating out, you stop doing those things that are just not, you have 15 streaming things instead of one or two. All right. Oh my goodness. When you
Well,
were
and
talking
it's
about, Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was going to say it's so interesting how closely money and health is connected because
Yes.
it's not uncommon when somebody starts to get out of debt, they actually do lose weight. I mean, part of it is they're
Yep.
probably making healthier choices by not eating out because of the expense of that, but also
Right.
again
Mhm.
you just start to kind of value yourself in a different way.
Yeah.
And so it really is quite interesting how tied the two are to each other,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your nervous system calms down. Your
Hmm.
cortisol lowers. If
Hmm.
you're in that stress all the time, your body's holding on to any fat and get absolutely right off the bat, right? So it's
Hmm.
very, very hard to lose that. When you're talking for, I kind of laughed. I didn't mean to. I was in my head. I don't know if you watch Family Guy at all. I used to watch that all the time, and they won the they won the lottery, and they're like, what, a week later, they was sitting on the curb. They lost all their money, and then they won the
Hmm.
lottery again. Like, oh, we lost it all again. It just made me laugh. Like, if you don't get your mindset straight, that's
Hmm.
what's going to happen. It doesn't matter how much you
Yeah.
buy or how much you win. If you're in that scarcity, you will spend, 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 spend. You'll
Hmm.
give it out to people, whatever it is, and you'll have
Hmm.
nothing. Yeah, so
Hmm. And
that's
it's pretty wild. I mean, like the amount doesn't matter. I think I don't know the exact percentage, but it's shocking how many lottery winners are filing bankruptcy within 4 years.
oh,
And
so sad.
again, the amount doesn't
Yeah.
even matter. You know,
No.
I mean, these days, like I hate to say it, but like $1 million doesn't even seem like
Oh,
it
a
would.
million.
I mean,
No.
it's not as much money as it used to be, right? But like even if
No.
it's hundreds of millions, I can't even wrap my mind around spending that much money in 4 years. But again, like it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas again, the analytical part of me is like, if you just invest it, like you can live off of the
Off
interest
the
and have
interest.
way more money than
Yes.
you've ever had in your life. But yeah,
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. And then it's too
that's
bad because
crazy.
some people have that, but they invest with the wrong, they put their trust in the wrong person, or, somebody
Yeah.
steals everything from them. So that could be scary. You'd have to really make sure you're working with the right person, right company, whatever the case may be. Well,
Yeah.
let's talk about money. Well, I guess we kind of did money and stress. How do you coach people with lowering their stress around money and getting that energy thing going?
Yeah, for sure. So again, just some tools that are probably similar to some of the same tools that you use, but you had mentioned, regulating the nervous system. Breath work is,
Oh, so
what's so
important.
interesting is the more simple the tool is, the more effective it seems to be. So breath work, meditation. Another area is uh, working on the negative stories that we tell ourselves
Yes.
and rewriting those negative stories because they're often just not even true.
No,
And
no.
so yeah, so recognizing, okay, is this actually what's going on? And yeah,
Yeah.
so definitely coaching around all of that. The awareness, the breath work, the regulation of the nervous system, all those things. And again, sometimes I even find myself trying to make it more complicated. It's like, oh, it's,
It's
there's a reason that
yeah.
this stuff has worked for centuries and centuries,
Right. Yeah.
of helping people. So um
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah. It's interesting. This might be a tangent you may or may not want to go down, but
Ooh.
something that has popped up in my world the past couple of days has been so interesting is just all the advancement with AI and kind of where things are heading with all of that. And there was a big article that actually two different people sent it to me yesterday, like, hey,
Oh,
did you see
that's
this? And it
funny.
was
Yeah.
it was this guy, he's a computer engineer. He's talking about like it's coming faster than we
Oh,
imagined,
so
and
fast.
yeah, and all the things. And but what it made me really reflect on is all of these things that are supposed to save us time. I mean, I remember being a kid, this will age myself a little bit. I remember being a kid and we got our first microwave. And it was so exciting because we're going to have so much more time now that we can microwave these meals,
Yeah.
and then it was like, the internet and the iPhone, and now it's AI, all these time saving things. And I don't know about you, but in my world, everybody is busier than ever. It's like, wait a
Ever.
second. Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, even
Yeah.
trying to like schedule a lunch with a friend becomes, well, I guess I can schedule something 4 months from now, or just something,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just crazy. And so for me, I mean, I have uh, very mixed feelings about AI. Like, I think it's exciting, and I also think it's terrifying at the same time. But to
Yeah.
me, the bigger issue is like, wait a second, when are we going to wake up to the fact that we are spinning so quickly, so out of control, and like we're n- not paying attention to the fact that we're being sold the wrong goods, right? Like, we're being sold, you're going to have more time, you're going to be more
Yeah.
productive, you're going to have all these things. And it's like, so, okay, so then when do we get to rest?
Yeah.
When do we get to enjoy life?
Yep.
Um,
Exactly.
yeah, so it was really kind of a eye-opening exercise yesterday with some
Yeah.
conversations that I had around all of that.
Love
But
that.
I think, the finances, the health, all of that really plays into all of that if
It
we
sure
don't
does. Yep.
recognize, the path that the world is trying to drag us down, and
Yep.
um and really question it and find our own path. We're going to end up in a place that we're like, how did I get here and why am I here? you
Yep,
know
absolutely. That's so funny because I've been noticing that myself. Like, why am I busier than I've ever been? And I keep trying to do things to get less busy the more, but like you say, I think it's because the AI, you do get things done quicker, so then you
Mhm.
take on more. And so
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just a weird psychological thing we get ourselves in this whirlwind of, oh, I can do this, I can do that, I can do. It's like now I don't have time to sleep because you're
yeah,
just back to back to back doing stuff. It's nuts.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
AI
And
is,
the trap I can fall into, I love learning new things. I love
oh,
information.
right.
And AI is great
Yeah.
at giving us all kinds of information, more information than we
Yeah.
were meant to process.
Yeah.
And so again, it's kind of that check of like, wait a second, do I even need to know this
Yeah.
particular thing? Is this going to help me?
Yeah.
Because yeah, I
Yeah.
I'm a lifelong learner, which is
Me too. Yeah.
a double-edged sword. I love learning new things, but then
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, no, let's just go do the thing.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And that's, I find I've had that conversation the other day with AI. It tells you something, and then, or you ask it, sorry, you ask it something, it gives you the answer, and then instead of just ending it, it says, I could also tell you. It's like, oh yeah, okay. And I could also tell you,
Yeah,
it's like, and then you're 4 hours in, it's like, well, I didn't even want to know any of this stuff. But it's funny,
yeah,
it just feeds into your psyche that
yeah,
way, right? Yeah.
yeah, for
Mm.
sure, for sure. It's like, I
Oh
didn't even
man.
know I needed to create this, but yeah, let's
No,
create
yeah,
that.
apparently I do. This is fantastic. Yeah, so funny. Do you ever have, I don't really, like with your clients, right?
Mhm.
I think of myself and or anybody that's had financial issues in the past. So if you're going through that and you know I need help, but then you see the price tag to get that help, how
Yeah,
do you help somebody kind of rationalize and get their head around that?
right, right. Yeah, and trust me, this is a question that kind of hits the heart a little bit,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
if I could, I would do what I do for everybody, for free, Um,
Oh God, eat.
but
Like,
but
right?
exactly, yeah, and I
Yeah.
have a couple of kids going to college, and and all the things. Um, but I feel so confident that I can easily save them 10 times more in their
Nice.
budget than what they're going to spend with me. So if and also the peace and the contentment that comes with that.
Nice.
So yeah, so that's how I, kind of rationalize it, as like, I'm providing financial advice that I know will save you money, I know will get you to
Yeah.
your financial goals, as well as just this, mindset shift that will change how you think about money, but also just change how you think about
Yeah.
life. And yeah, it's kind of invaluable when you look at it that way.
Absolutely. Yeah. I
But
agree
but
100%. That's good.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
like I said, I mean, most of my clients are honestly pretty high earners. and so it's really not the income. I mean, very rarely is the income the problem. Sometimes it is, but very
Right.
rarely is the income the problem. Um,
Okay.
so it's more of those, kind
Because
of
if
spending habits
exactly, the
and
more you
all
make, the
that.
more you
Yeah,
spend, right? Just like you said, you get that bonus, and
absolutely.
all of a sudden it becomes your new
New
base.
normal.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep. And
yeah.
that's so again, having that,
Mm.
it's crazy because I went through this myself. Again, I didn't have a coach, but I did had to figure out, right? And it was crazy how quickly I could pay things off by just getting a little smarter about
Focus.
what I was doing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You pay off your high ticket things first, all that kind of stuff. Like it's just all
yeah,
those tips and tricks, and so good for
yeah.
you.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it's interesting because there's definitely some different theories about that. Like, do you pay the smallest one first and build up? Do you pay the highest interest rate first? Whatever. And then I
Yeah.
actually just recently heard a new take is like, if you have a debt that just makes you mad, like
Okay. Yeah.
attack it, go after it, make that be the first one. And so
Yeah.
it's not like,
That makes sense.
to
Yeah.
me, the bigger
Yeah.
issue is like what clicks with the client. I'm not going to tell all my clients, like, you have to do it this way. This is the only way.
No, good.
It's
Yeah.
like, here are the options. Which one resonates with you? And let's choose that one. And it may be a kind of a combination of those. Um, but, um, but yeah,
That is
when
so
you
good.
get in that groove, and then of course start getting some wins, and you see
Yeah.
those numbers, and it's like, oh wait, this feels good, this
Yeah,
is a good
right?
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
When you start sleeping
um
at night because you're
yeah,
not laying
yeah,
in bed thinking, oh my God, what am I, how am I going to pay that? How am I going to do this? Did I forget to pay
yeah,
that? All those
yeah,
things that go on in your brain as you're laying in bed in the middle of the night, right? Stressing about it. So, yeah, again, it all
yeah,
comes back to your health. Just
yeah,
get your
for
finances,
sure.
get your head wrapped around that. It changes everything. It changes your
Yeah, for
happiness,
sure.
your marriage, your on what if you're on your own, whatever, right? It's you treat
Yeah,
people better because you're now happier in your own
exactly.
contentment. Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
exactly. Yeah, and it's I mean, again, sometimes the most simple, most basic things are the best, whether it's,
Yeah,
the breath work and the breathing techniques and the meditation, going back to that, or just with, the finances. I am not a financial advisor, so I don't tell people how to
right.
invest their
Gotcha.
money necessarily. I have some people I can refer to,
Hmm.
but
Yeah,
my advice is usually, it's so boring, it's so basic. Just let the market, index funds that follow the market, let the market do the
yeah.
thing. Like, don't try to guess, don't try to like pick the next
No,
hot thing. And so it's not super exciting, but it works. So
nice.
yeah,
That's
just
good.
kind of getting back to those basics in all areas tends to be kind
Right?
of the,
Basics are
yeah,
basics
yeah,
for a reason. They never seem they're always there, right? So
exactly.
they'll never fail you. Okay. Good, good, good. I did want to just, I know this is completely other subject, but I wanted to talk
Yeah,
about your habit finder assessment that I did
yeah,
really
absolutely.
quickly.
Yeah.
I was, as I was kind of preparing, I thought, I wonder if I read that wrong. I just now kind of was putting the terminology through my head. So it said to pick what the answer that you feel is most correct.
Mhm.
Now, is that the answer that's most correct in my situation, or what I feel is most correct through for everybody, for anybody? What's the correct way to
Yeah.
take that?
Yeah, good question. So the instructions are somewhat ambiguous on purpose to kind of just see how people interpret that.
Okay, okay,
Um, and so what I would say is, if there's a certain situation in life that is kind of a current situation, try to take that out of the equation and answer more big picture in
okay,
general,
good. That's
kind
what I
of
did.
for
Okay,
everybody.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, good,
Um,
good.
exactly. Yeah. And so for anybody interested, I'm assuming we could probably put the link to the assessment.
Absolutely,
It's a
absolutely.
free assessment. And essentially, there's 18 statements that you rank,
Hmm.
and then kind of from best to worst, if you will. And then there's a second set of 18 statements.
Hmm.
And so it sounds easy, but then there's some where you're
It's
like, well,
interesting. Yeah.
these are both really not great, or these are both
That's
pretty
right.
important,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, so it's a interesting assessment for
Yeah.
sure. And it's really wild how well it can pinpoint those risky areas of
Absolutely.
thinking habits. Yeah.
I'm trying
Yeah.
to see. I don't know. Do you oh, you took the assessment. What was my number? I was trying to see 70 something. Do you remember what my thing was?
I could pull it up. So yeah,
Ah,
and I tell people, the goal is not to get to 100 because very few
no,
people are
no.
going to get to
Yeah.
100, and that's fine.
I think I was
Um,
79.
but
So
more
the other side of me.
importantly, so there's six habits of thinking, and so really it's kind of looking at. I'm pulling yours up here real quick. Um,
Yeah, it
so
was
yeah, so
interesting.
your overall score was 79, but more importantly, kind of looking in each area. So there's connection with others, mental creation, which is your ability to plan, set goals, visualize dreams. Physical creation, your physical creation score is really good, which is the
Mm,
ability to execute plans, accomplish goals,
mm,
and physically create those dreams. Structure is the system that supports all of that. Personal fulfillment, and then self-worth. And yeah, I mean your scores are pretty solid. We say that
nice.
anything over 85 is considered an area of natural genius, and so
Nice.
um, so that's a thing to pay attention to. But then also recognize if there's areas that are lower, how might they be affecting those areas that are a natural
Right.
genius to you? Because they're,
Nice.
of course, they're all kind of tied together in a unique way. But
Oh,
yeah, it's super fascinating.
this
And
is it was
yeah,
interesting to do that. So yeah, I will absolutely put the link in there and everybody can take that.
yeah,
It's
awesome.
very,
I
very
love it.
cool. Good. All right. Well, I think we're coming to that time. So is there anything else that you would like to people to know or any final wisdom thoughts? Thoughts of wisdom? Like,
Oh man, so many thoughts of wisdom. I think again, just I, I s- I see these like themes in certain parts of my life at certain times of life.
Mhm.
And yeah, like I feel like the theme right now is I was actually just listening to a podcast about like taking a sabbatical,
Ah,
and and the importance of just that downtime.
downtime.
Um, yeah, so I think that would be my advice for anyone right now is, and trust me, I know that that is so much easier said than done, especially
Mhm.
if you have young kids at home and all of those things. But even if it's just a matter of finding a day or half a day, work with your
Mhm.
spouse and say, hey, I just really need a half day. Let me just go. I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes for me, it's like, I want to sit in a room and stare at a blank wall.
Yeah,
Like I
exactly.
don't
Don't
even
want to do anything. You just want to
exactly.
be. Yeah,
Exactly.
I
So,
know.
so yeah, like I think right now that's the theme that seems to be popping up in my
Yeah.
life, and so I
So
figure if
much.
it's resonating with me, there's probably other people that that resonates
Yeah.
with. Is just take care of yourself, and if that means taking some time, especially if that means taking some time, just get creative with how to make that happen.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Nice.
that's the,
Yeah. Love that.
the
It's funny you said that because I've noticed that as well. A lot of people that
mhm,
I reach out, they're all on sabbatical. I'm so dumb. Like, oh, that's genius. Like, it's crazy to me. So many people are doing that. And it's so
mhm,
good because
mhm.
people are realizing they need to take care of themselves. You have to set boundaries, whether that's
Mhm,
financial, health, whatever, you have to set boundaries. All right. So,
mhm,
so
mhm.
important. Thank you for that.
And
That's, yeah.
yeah, and in the podcast I was listening to today, he made a point of, you know, we we can't really be creative unless we get a little bit bored,
Right. Yeah.
and so, or maybe a lot
Yeah.
bored. And he said, my wife, um, it's like she knows when I've had enough time off because all of these ideas start
Yes. So true.
popping up,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
again, it's kind of slow down to speed up. It like if you're a business owner
Yeah.
or an executive or something like that, it's almost like a slow down to speed up.
Yeah.
If we don't slow down, um we're not going to get to like those places
Nope.
that we could get to otherwise. So,
No.
it's,
So,
it's
so true. That's so
yeah,
true. You got, just like they always say, you got to charge your batteries with your phones. You got to charge your batteries with ourselves just by resting. Rest is
yeah,
fantastic for your
yeah,
creativity for sure.
yeah, and your physical body too.
Oh, absolutely. It's all hand in hand, right? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Good. All right.
So,
So if somebody wants to work with you, how do they get in touch?
yeah, awesome. Thanks. My website is legacycoachinggroup.com.
Okay.
Um, I am not super active on socials, but I have a goal of getting a little bit better this year. But Coach Liz Taylor on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
Um, and then and I'm assuming we can put the links into all that. And then
Mhm.
for the Habit Finder assessment, it's habitfinder.com/Liz Elizy.
Beautiful.
So yeah,
Good. All right.
I'd love to hear from your listeners/viewers, and
Mhm.
don't be afraid to reach out. Like I would truly love to hear if this conversation
Oh,
resonated. And yeah, I
that's
appreciate
good.
this
Good, good.
opportunity.
Yes, me too. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so, so much for being here. It's always such a joy talking to you. I just love
Yes,
you're just interesting. You're very interesting.
likewise.
Okay.
I know
Thank you,
it's
thank
always
you.
good.
For anybody watching, listening, if today's episode resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next Conversation That Heals. Thank you for listening to the Conversations That Heal. If something in this episode helped you feel seen or gave you one small thing to try, that's your next step. Start there. Gentle, sustainable, and at your body's pace. Remember, your body isn't the problem, it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. We're just learning to start listening to it again. If you want more, check out this video next. Stay well, and we'll see you in the next Conversation That Heals.